everybody. My name is Ryan.
And my name is Steve. Oh, wait, you're Ryan?
I'm Ryan.
You're listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
That whole I'm Ryan thing started just because there was confusion in like a YouTube comment thread or something like that with someone who was angry with us, and you and I were both commenting.
Yeah,
and the guy kept going like, who am I talking to? Because I thought you were the other person. Like, I'm Ryan.
I was like, if you go back, I always sign my comments and Ryan never does, basically.
The guy basically melted down on us and assumed and accused us of being liars because he couldn't track who he was talking to. Even though at that point I started signing my name.
Right. I have always.
I think it was on YouTube. It might have been on the Facebook
No, it was
page.
on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh no, it was on the Facebook page.
Right, which is also equally confusing because it comments as just the page. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't even remember what that was about. Probably was something stupid.
It was about something we posted about something about women.
We posted something about women.
Oh, it was about the Steel Panther thing.
Oh,
that was Steel Panther Fallout because that was on the picture of the toxic masculizer. And how we were terrible people.
I wish I didn't remember now.
That's what you get for asking me questions, Ryan. I make you remember things.
Well, I'm Ryan. What's new, Steve?
We already did this. What's new is this guitar is not ours anymore.
It's time for us to say goodbye to it. We've received monies to sell it to someone who wanted to buy it. The way it went down is pretty crazy. I've been thinking for like...
It's not in tune.
No, I put new strings on it, and it's just been sitting there for a while. So yeah.
I was playing D minor because this is a very sad moment.
So anyways, I've been thinking about selling this for a while just because like it's not really a terribly great guitar for me to demo with because people will look at it and really not know
what's that,
what it is. And it looks like it's got humbuckers in it when really it's got the pickups are single coils.
Yeah, they're Valco style.
They're voiced in a very specific way that's not normal. So it's like, it's not a great demo guitar. I really am not using this thing a lot. I should move it and make room for more stuff that's probably going to come in soon. So I had been only talking about selling it. Mm-hmm. I had talked about it in a group that we're in that a bunch of other people are in, including the Gear Slum guys. Mm-hmm. They mentioned on their podcast a couple of weeks back that there was a little stinker on the market.
Right.
But they didn't want to say who was selling it because they didn't know if that was okay.
It also wasn't up yet.
I haven't put it up at all anywhere. And so on their Facebook group, I know there's a lot of connections. Someone was like, who has a little stinker and is trying to sell it? I want to buy it. And I think you tagged me.
I did. I said, I am sort of.
And that guy pulled the trigger within like an hour and a half of
that's crazy.
That post. Like he's been looking for a little stinker for a long time. He's I'm pretty sure he's a listener of our show.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think he either
I said pretty sure and then absolutely. I know that I've had conversations with him before.
Yeah, he is, or at least was at one point, a patron of our program.
Oh, okay. So I'm really happy that we're keeping it in the family.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wanted to make sure could happen as I moved towards selling it. And I kept just dragging my heels because I was like, I don't want to sell it. I want to keep it. But it's like, someone else who will love it should have it sort of situation. And I could use the money. Steve uses money too. I don't know if you guys knew that, but Steve uses money to pay for things. Mm-hmm. So the little stinker's going to a new home. This is the prototype, by the way, that Roni built.
Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
No, I hate that show.
You're going to say
2016 prototype.
Instead of Lil Sebastian, we should throw together a bye-bye Lil Stinker video. But...
It's a great guitar. I hope he loves it and cherishes it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
And then sells it for a profit. I
always enjoyed playing it.
I hope he can flip it. Just because flipping is great. So yeah, that's a change in my life. Mm-hmm. You have anything new going on?
I don't.
Really?
I'm going to say I don't. I'm still trying to sell that Strat.
Oh, okay.
But
that's not new. That's old.
Yeah, I haven't been like pushing it because I found out more things were wrong with the wiring. Which really means I just need to go drop it off at Guitar Center.
It kind of sounds like you bought a boat.
Well,
it's like a hole in the water you throw money into.
They're like, I haven't thrown any money at
I know.
it.
It's all like time costs, though.
Yeah.
Solder costs money, Steve.
I'm using like very small amounts of solder.
So a new thing that is going to happen in this episode.
Yes.
A reason for you to stick around. Let's see if we can get 100% viewage on all
we can't.
views of this episode on YouTube. On the last ad of the episode, Steve and I are going to do the Death Nut Challenge. I've got this box of
Is there two of the Death Nuts?
There's 3 nuts in each thing.
one.
So there'll be one left for my
life.
enjoyment later. But this is a package with 5 spicy peanut varieties in it. Number 1, getting started. Number 2, warming up. Number 3, heat and flavor. Number 4, pain sets in. And number 5, the death nut. I listened
How
to...
are we going to do this? How is
We're
this...
going to eat them and talk about the last ad. I heard them do this on the Doughboys podcast, which is an actual food podcast.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, I want to get that.
All
Steve
right.
and I are going to do that.
Great.
It's going to be awful.
This is going to be real bad.
So you're going to
I'm not a spicy food guy like you.
Crying and mucusing at the end of this.
I only Thai food at like a 4.
You know, I'm not a Thai food fan. I don't know what my level is.
Okay.
But I know I like hot stuff. I like it hot. I did a video a while back where I drank a shot glass full of hot sauce.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It didn't get a ton of views, but it was fun. I'll say that. I enjoyed it. And you know what? My poops really weren't that bad afterwards. I'll say that. Steve is going to end up in the hospital.
Hopefully after my softball game.
And I'm hoping it lines up good with the ad. I hope it is entertaining to hear us
It'll be
trying to discuss the ad while we're on fire.
Kind of drop some hot takes.
Yeah. Hot takes. That's what we'll call it.
Oh my gosh.
Good one, Steve.
Yeah, finally got an episode title.
Hot takes.
So this first ad was sent by Josh Fitzgerald. It's an EHX Deluxe base Big Muff. Hi. For sale is like new EHX Deluxe Big Muff.
For sale is like new.
I've only owned it 6 months and it's never been gigged with or left the house for that matter. Yes, I'm asking the brand new price for it, but I'm also including the AC adapter specifically made for this pedal. The wrong adapter will screw up an EHX pedal. And a 6-foot monster cable. Also brought 6 months ago with the pedal. I can print off a user manual for you if you'd like. Thanks for looking. All right, so the first problem I have is, what do you do with the 6-foot monster cable? Like, I realize that you wear a guitar like halfway down your body, but literally like a 6-foot guitar cable means I don't move.
It means you're standing next to your amp.
I
remember
stuck.
when I first started playing guitar, I had to go buy a cable, and it's like 6 feet sounds long enough. I think I bought like 1 or 2 6 and 5 foot cables. It's like, yeah, 6 feet. That's like quite a ways away from me. And it's totally not enough. I feel like I'm not comfortable unless I have like a 15-foot long cable.
Yeah, I think 12 or 15 feet somewhere. I think 12 is like the bare minimum I'm okay with.
We're talking about this instead of the completely bananas things that were said in this ad.
What? That the wrong adapter will screw up an EHX pedal. That is true.
Yes, if you use
that is true.
Wrong adapter, as in the wrong like power stats and stuff like that.
Right.
But you can use other power adapters. You don't have to use EHX branded power adapter.
Yeah,
you can use a one spot on most EHX stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy's charging like a new price for this.
Because it comes with this thing that probably the pedal may... The EHX does throw this in for some of their pedals.
Most of their pedals come with a giant wall wart. I think they had like 1 billion of them made in the 80s, and they're trying to get rid of them all. My Pitchfork came with a wall wart, and that's a single-size pedal. So there's not just the big pedals.
I was going to say, because my Crayon didn't. Maybe there's like a price point on it, or maybe because this pedal does in the manual have a 100 milliamp draw. So maybe if it's only like above a certain milliamp draw, I would guess that like the draw on the Crayon is like under 30, maybe as high as 40. I don't really know. That would be my guess. But yeah,
I wonder if this thing takes batteries.
It does.
It does.
I'm pretty sure you can drop a couple batteries in there. I don't know how long they'll a couple batteries.
I mean, it's
you can
a fuzz.
drop one battery.
It's a fuzz. So yeah, it probably lasts forever on 1.9 volt.
Yeah, I don't know why it's even. Well, there's. I mean, yeah, it's a fuzz.
Well, yeah,
there
why is
might
it
be some
100
other
milliamps?
stuff going on there. That might just be a safety. Some manuals they just say 100 milliamps.
They're just like, let's round up. It's 15 milliamps. Let's round up to 100.
No, there was literally. I don't remember who the builder was, but there was someone I talked to. I like emailed them saying, hey, like I'm out. Like I needed to figure out if I could run it off of a certain power supply I had. Or like I wanted to work out in the chain. I don't remember what it was. I was like, the manual says it's like this. I think it was like 100. I was like, what's the actual? And they're like, we just put that for safety. Like you'll be fine. Like don't worry about it.
Leon measured the 50/50 like a year back or something like that and found out that it has a ridiculously low power draw.
I believe that.
Like
It's probably like
super small.
It's probably like 20 or 30.
I think it was lower than
that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like
I'm not gonna.
everyone was just losing their mind when he posted. Like, I can't believe it's that low. So yeah, that's completely bananas. This pedal probably came with the wall wart.
And that to me is like the more troubling aspect of it.
Only actual value he's added to this is the monster cable, which is like,
nah,
who cares, really? I mean, it's no sinusoid,
like
you know
barely
what I mean?
added value.
It's barely even a cable. Might as well be a Radio Shack. I've actually had every monster cable I've had has failed super quick.
Really?
Like really quick.
Mine
and then I tried to
been fine.
I tried to return it, like tried to return one once to Guitar Center or wherever, and it was a huge hassle. I'm like, this is not worth it. So yeah, this guy's charging too much, and he's got bad information. Should we move on to something else?
Let's move on to something
This
dumb.
is going to be a quick episode. We're racing towards the finish line of burning our brains out with peanuts.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how long this takes.
So apparently, we're like mostly not even prepared to talk about what's actually happened.
Yeah, so I guess the downside of having...
And this is going to happen 2 weeks after the fact?
Right. Oops.
Podcasts.
The downside of having like a midday recording session is we didn't really have, we had less time than usual to prepare.
Because I usually cram into like all my preparing into the last hour of work.
Right.
And today was just like, oh, I'm doing the podcast instead of working.
Yeah. But both Jacob Charbonneau and Carlos Mancha in the Facebook group said, bring up the Vertex Anderton's video. That'll get you some views. Basically,
I have to remember to tag Vertex and Anderton's in the video.
Okay. It says, Jacob says, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Vertex/Anderton's thread on the gear page and what you think of owning gear by companies with shady past/presence and where you draw the line. I mean, most of us use iPhones that were made in poor working conditions.
If you're wearing clothing, you're a bad person. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, because children probably made that stuff.
Yeah.
For pennies.
So basically what this is about is there was a 42-page thread on the gear page that's now
that
closed.
Short? Oh, it's because they closed it.
They closed it.
That's why it's 42 instead of 420.
Yeah. But the Mason from Vertex went on there, which we interviewed Mason from Vertex.
Accidentally.
And, well, like we knew that we would be interviewing him. I think.
Didn't remember any of the details about it.
Right. And
before we started.
And so like we brought up like, I think
he brought it up.
Oh, he brought it up, but we didn't like grill him
because it had just
on his company's shitty pat. No, that didn't just.
Do
happen.
I need to paint the picture of what happened?
No. So anyway, so he just went on Anderton's YouTube and does this interview. It's like a 45-minute thing. And we watched like a couple minutes of it here and there. And the long and short of it is, Anderton's is a store. They're not going to bring on their manufacturers to make them look bad.
Yeah. They're not going to bring people on and like even bring up dirty history and call them on inaccurate things that they're saying. Even in that interview, they're going to be like, yeah, let's move product.
Yeah. Maybe now, I think it's 45 minutes long. We watched like the first 5 minutes of it.
If that.
So
we watched like 5 sections for like 30 seconds
yeah,
each.
That's true. So maybe somewhere in that 45 minutes.
We got the gist that something happened.
They try to unpack that a little bit, but based on the comments that I was seeing.
If I was a retailer, I wouldn't.
Like, you wouldn't grill your manufacturer?
I wouldn't grill.
Would you
if
even
I was a retailer, I wouldn't grill someone who's trying to sell product through me.
I'm saying, like, I think if I was a retailer, I would be tempted to be like, hey, so you have a shady history. How about we like build this as like
if I was a retailer like
a redemption story?
No, if I was a retailer like Anderton,
you just dodge.
I would just be like, let's talk about your product and nothing else.
Yeah. Well, apparently they talked about a lot of things because it's 45 minutes.
Dude, we spent an hour talking about almost nothing on this show. I make demos where I'm talking about one pedal, not like every pedal made by a company that ends up being 20 minutes long.
So the one thing at the 4-minute mark of this video that I saw that was called out that I thought was interesting. Do you think that Analog Man and Keeley pedals make faux boutique pedals?
That is a rough thing.
And I shouldn't say that they make it because I guess I can see the argument now that Keeley pedals makes faux boutique in the current state.
He was talking
because
about
they're a mass manufacturer.
He was talking about when they came out.
Yeah, this is like in 2004.
That kind of statement is baffling to me. I kind of don't want to watch, but do want to watch that whole video just to see whatever else craziness is in it.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if I'm gonna ever have the time.
I mean,
that's my biggest problem.
What I walked away with after we interviewed Mason, because it's like we interviewed him and it kind of got sidelined by the fact that we didn't exactly remember that there was that whole thing. We were at like basically a street fair for guitar stuff at the Quilter event, and I was going to booths like, hey, you want to like be on our show? We're set up to record over there. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. He was the first one to come on. And then he dropped on us like, hey, there's this thing going on. He did it on mic where like I did this. I did some bad stuff and I'm trying to like find redemption. And I was like, oh, that's great that you're trying to find redemption.
Yeah, and
like,
we just super didn't dig into it. And we kind of like read about it later and we're like, oh,
people,
there's a lot more here to unpack.
Crucified us on the internet over it and like, how dare you give him a venue to speak and this and that. And it's like, I didn't know. And then people were accusing us of being on his payroll.
Basically, we got in
like
trouble
being shills just for allowing him on the show.
Yeah, basically, we got in trouble for not living on the gear page.
Exactly. But then I also did an asshole thing where it was like, I'm going to post this to the gear page because I know it's going to get a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
And it did get a lot of clicks. So I'd still probably do that, but I just wouldn't mention it in the interview. And you know, I've seen Mason, I've seen his booth every time I go to NAMM, and I just don't talk to him anymore. But something that came out of all that is just like realizing that this dude is shady.
Right.
And he does lie like a lot.
Right.
And currently,
there have been some,
and I'd hate to be a
there
person
have been
like
some other pedals that have come out where he's like, oh, I based it on this Dumble, and people are like, but the amp in your video isn't a Dumble.
It's like a recreation.
It's a clone of a Dumble.
Yeah.
Like you've never, like, have you actually
been in a room with
a Dumble? I have not. Have I? I have not.
I've been outside with a bumblebee. It rhymes with Dumble.
No, there we go.
Yeah.
That
but it's like,
basically counts.
I mean, we can go back to the core of this question. It's like, how do you feel about owning or purchasing gear that is coming from a source that is less than reputable?
Well, I'm not necessarily speaking for myself, but I know a lot of people look at it from the perspective of they don't think that the gear that they own, basically the gear that they own is a means to an end.
Right.
So
it's a tool.
If there is a shady company that puts something out that is a unique product in some way, and they can get a good price on it, like they'll just buy it used.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, you know, like this is a shady company, but it's a good sounding drive pedal. So I don't want to necessarily like give benefit to the manufacturer, but I do want this pedal, so I'm just going to get on reverb.
Sure.
I will say that I think for you and I, we're in kind of like in a
unique
oddly
position,
different space where we can't necessarily leverage that as well.
We can't really separate ourselves from the product if I'm like putting it in a demo video.
Yeah, or putting it on even just putting it on the Instagram because
like
you're taking a board picture.
I could honestly say, like, if Mason came to me and asked me to do a demo, I'd probably decline it. I'd be declining money just because I don't want the heat.
Right.
And I don't want to be associated.
Ryan doesn't want the heat, and we're going to eat Carolina Reaper peanuts later. Some Pepper X peanuts.
Yeah, when we eat this, we'll have to talk about what's in each peanut. It's ridiculous.
So there is that, but the other side of it is, I think some cases of companies being shady are more egregious than others.
And sometimes it's egregious, and sometimes it's more abstract, and like there's different levels, and like the consumer can decide. Like everyone can decide what is fine with them. I'm kind of, as a consumer, not as like podcast host, demo guy, or whatever.
Right.
As a consumer, I'm like, I don't care. I'm in the camp that would buy something used if it's a tool that I think would get the job done for me. I'd buy a Vertex pedal if I thought it would get the job done for me. I actually want to buy one of his wah pedals if I could find them.
Do they still exist?
I'm sure someone has one on eBay or something like that, but I want to pay the BBE price. Is the thing. We haven't even gotten into the controversy behind this guy, and it's too much. Go look him up on the
just
Gear
Google
page.
it. Just Google it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And
It's a lot.
It's a lot. We, I think, covered it once.
I kind of want to have a collection of like controversial gear. Like I want to get
that would be like a fun feature.
I want to get the Freakish Blues Alpha Drive, which is a rebranded, repainted Joyo pedal.
yeah.
Which is a clone of an OCD, which is a clone of a rat or something like that.
Something, yeah.
But I feel like I'm on the practical side of that, but I could definitely see myself being like, yeah, I'm not going to give them fresh money. I'm going to buy used.
Mm-hmm. So you think that's kind of like the line, or do you think?
But that's with like pedals.
How shady does it come? Because I've heard other people say like, well, like all of these companies, like every company has done something a little shady at some point.
My thing that I always go to when people are talking about this is like, I guarantee you the farmer that grew the vegetables in your salad had some pretty messed up ideas and did some really awful stuff at some point in their life. Like,
right.
It's a little bit different with gear stuff because the personalities and the people involved with these companies are kind of upfront and represent their companies and are part of the identity of the companies, where it's like, you don't know the farmer who grew your apple, so it feels different, but in the grand scheme of things, it's technically the same.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I get it. Like, I want to go watch a movie that's got an actor in it who turns out to be an awful rapist or something like that. It kind of sours it. Like, I don't want to go watch Ghost Dad starring Bill Cosby if I'm sitting there watching it like, man, that dude is a piece of crap the whole time. I think I'm soured on Cosby now.
Oh, man.
I've never vocalized it, and I never really thought about it. But yeah, I don't want to watch Cosby in anything anymore. How do you feel about Cosby?
I don't know.
Would you watch reruns of The Cosby Show?
I listened to something the other day that was talking about that, and because I've never thought about it, because I've never really been into The Cosby Show. His brand of comedy.
Because you hate black people?
No.
That answer was too slow, Steve. You needed to be quick on that, because now I don't believe you.
I'm just more a Family Matters guy. Like, Family Matters is my
There
speed.
you go. That was a good steer.
There we go.
There you go.
No, The Cosby Show, like because it's his comedy, like there's something about it that's a little dry, and it's very dad humor.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe now, like watching it, I'd be like, oh, it's a dad joke. I get it. But like at the time where like I was seeing it rerun, I don't even know if you can find it on TV anymore.
But it's like if someone did have a problem like that, like couldn't sit and watch, Bill Cosby make jokes about sandwiches in a sitcom, would they also have trouble looking down at their pedal board and being like, oh, that person did this? I get it. Like, I think it's a complicated situation.
Yeah, and it's some of it is, I think people. This is going off the rails a little bit, but I think there is a difference when, like, I'm going to sound like an apologist, and this is not not the intent.
Crucified if people from TGP listen to this.
Is that like Bill Cosby was good at his job, but like these. But like if you're,
he said that with like the right delivery that you just came across as the biggest asshole right now. Well, at least he was good at his job.
No, but what I mean is like,
he's an entertainer.
He's an entertainer.
He's good at entertaining.
And he was good at entertaining. Whereas like we're talking about pedal manufacturers who
could potentially not be good at their
are
job.
like lying or are misrepresenting their brand. Now, people could make the argument that like Bill Cosby misrepresented his own personal brand because his comedy was always like good, clean fun, but he was actually a creep.
In the 70s, he made he has records, like comedy
Even,
records
like,
of him saying that he likes to drug women. Like that's one of his jokes.
Right. But the flip side of it is,
but it was also the 70s and cocaine made everything a little blurry for people.
Eddie Murphy, Raw, where like the opening is like 10 straight minutes of gay jokes.
I mean, it's
it's one of the Eddie Murphy records,
but people don't think about Eddie Murphy the same way they think about Cosby.
Because as far as we know, Eddie Murphy didn't actually do anything. He just made jokes about it.
Right.
This is off the rails.
I have big memories of things Eddie Murphy has done, but I don't have specifics, so I'm not going to get into it.
I think he's generally considered a decent human being.
He got caught picking up prostitutes.
That's a whole other complicated issue.
I mean, I don't want...
Were they free range or...
I don't even know what that means. But yeah, we should take a hard right back into like our.
So I guess what I mean is in terms
here.
of perception, the brand that obviously like I'll just throw it out there. The brand that we've worked with several times in the past, that both of us are friends with on Facebook, that we make in and out jokes with all the time is JHS pedals, which there's always controversy.
Yeah, people are always talking about
really like
JHS.
That brand. I would say probably I don't think anything controversial has really happened in like the last 5 or 6 years, probably.
I don't even know the time frame.
But there have been things where I'm not going to say it's like shady in the same sense of this, but there's definitely things where you look at it and you're like, this isn't as clean cut as it should be.
A lot murkier.
Like it's definitely... It's not full on shady, but it's like these clouds are in a location that otherwise should be sunshiny. Like it's a little odd.
I don't know. People can talk about that all day, and I'd rather not talk about it all day.
I don't fully want to like get into it.
I'm just exhausted by it.
I feel like we've talked about that before too, but that is a case where there are definitely like tons of people out there who would say like, oh, I'm not buying anything from anyone who's had any kind of issue, whether it's misrepresenting their own product,
right,
fully or partially. Anything that's controversial like that in any sense. So in that regard, like, we only know what like the personal feelings of people are who exist as public personas.
Sure.
Like I don't know anything about the personal life of the guy, of the CEO of Roland Boss.
Yeah.
I don't, know anything about the guy who I don't know anything about the current board members of Fender Musical Instruments Corporation.
Sure.
And they're a corporation, so they're probably evil, right?
They're probably great guys. Everyone I've met from Fender is awesome. Send us stuff. Ding.
All right. So
the ding was your cue to write us an email, Fender.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't know. Obviously, I would just say like
it's sticky and it's complicated.
Do the thing that like keeps your conscience at ease.
Oh yeah.
I definitely think Vertex is a brand that if I was to get a Vertex pedal, I would definitely be getting it used. Personally, I just don't see myself. I think that generally the products that Mason produces or that he sells under his brand, I haven't seen anything from him where I'm like, oh, I think that's a thing that I'm interested in.
No, they're not for us at all. They're not our style of stuff.
So that's, I guess that helps.
I don't really want a pedal that's trying to sound like the clean channel of a Dumble. Or like a clean Dumble. I don't quite get it. It's like a boost preamp thing, I guess.
So yeah, is that enough on that topic? I feel like
that's a good topic. I think we nailed it, Steve. Maybe we should have hit the hot nuts while we were doing that one.
Yeah. Let's slam through these sponsor spots real fast. We got a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's what happens when I demo stuff.
So we got our good old friend Sinusoid Pro Audio Couture. This week we're talking about Tech
cables right
Flex here. Tuesday each week they come out with the Tech Flex combo that basically is a pre-selected setup. You go in and you select, like, if you want, I think it's either 10, 12. It's either 10 or 12 or 12 and 15 foot options. I
it's
forget
like
which
the Cable
ones.
of the Week Club. Like you go and you see what they
so
built,
go check
and
it out.
you can order it.
There's always
already built.
Obviously, like, these guys are sitting around with lots of cable colors and lots of Tech Flex colors. So they're like, oh, what happens when you do this? Oh, this looks really cool. We should promote this as our next Tech Flex Tuesday.
That was rough, Steve.
So,
you made it though.
Go on to sinusoid.com, sign up for their email list to get the email updates for Tech Flex Tuesday, Tech Tuesday. There we go.
You
It's done.
did it.
Sinusoid Pro Audio Couture. They make cables.
And smiles.
Next up, we got Chase Bliss. We talked about the Dark World. Ryan's going to show it again. We talked about it last week, but really, Chase Bliss has a bunch of pedals. They now have a reverb, a delay, a drive, a chorus.
Yeah. Those are chorus vibes sort of thing. The Warp Final.
Trem, an EQ thing.
A lot of those things you just said, you could do also with the Dark World. You can make chorus.
Is there a drive?
You can make, no, you can't do drive, but you can do like chorus sounds. You can do vibe sounds.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's like modulation.
Tremolo sounds with it.
There we go.
A lot of their pedals do that, where it's like, oh yeah, it's this pedal, but you can do all this crazy stuff with it. Like their EQ
they have
pedal
a flange.
they have a flange.
Flange.
They're just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Chase Bliss pedals are ridiculous every time. Like I've said many times before, I think the Dark World is like flat out my favorite Chase Bliss pedal so far. It hits so many marks for me. Go watch my demos, go watch my videos. They sound
go
great.
chase your bliss. ChaseBlissAudio.com. Next up, we got Gun Street, still rocking the shirt, Gun Street Wiring Shop. If you're looking for wiring for your Strat, Telecaster, Les Paul, a bass, I don't know what other kind. That's pretty much everything.
Not your Nissan Sentra though.
Not for Nissan Sentra. Not for BMW.
No. For guitars, guys.
Guitars, basses.
Yeah. Instruments.
Ukuleles.
Electric stringed instruments. That's what they make
All
wiring
those
harnesses
things.
for. And the biggest thing about these pre-made wiring harnesses is that, yeah, they're going to sound great. Yeah, they're built correctly. Yeah, you can explore really cool new territory and like new tricks for your guitar. But really, it just saves you a ton of time. It turns a Saturday project into a lunch hour project.
Yep.
It's fantastic. I'm never going to rewire my SG ever again from scratch. I'm going to get a wiring harness every single time from now on.
But only for your SG. I don't know. That's the way you said it.
Anything kind of complicated and has a bunch of like pots and switches and stuff like that. If I'm, dropping a single volume and a switch into a guitar, then I can do that myself. I can do that in a lunch hour. But if I'm doing multiple pots, things go weird really quick when I do it. All right, next sponsor.
Yeah, is Rev. This is the G3.
Another pedal
Rev.
I've done a demo of.
Yeah.
I flat out wasn't expecting to fall in love with this pedal.
I really like how purple it is.
It's very purple. It's very high gain. And it's just so pleasing and fun to play with. I just gush about this thing in the demo. It just hits the right sound to fit into my playing, into the mix when I'm using it. I've been using this high gain pedal at church as like a bass drive to throw delays and modulations and reverbs on top of. It's a like screaming electric lead machine. Your chuggas for days, and it just has this even modern tone that just works somehow. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Just go watch the demo, listen to everyone else's demos, go check it out. I'm a big fan. It's kind of blown me away.
Big fan.
Big fan. Was that all our sponsors?
That's all our sponsors.
Jeez, we had a lot of
moving
sponsors.
right along.
Big business.
This next ad was sent in by Ryan Burke.
That's me. Hi.
Did you find this or did I find this and send it to you?
I found it and I sent it to you, Steve.
This is here's a cool Strat body / neck / bridge bridge
Good
project
talking,
for you.
Steve. Do you get any hits on your voiceover
Not yet.
ad yet?
Bridge project for you. I believe the body is an older Mexican-made Fender Stratocaster. The neck has no markings, but is very good quality. And the bridge is made by Sung 2. I don't know what that is. The body has some dings and scratches, and the screws for the neck pocket on the body have been filled in and re-drilled to fit the current neck. Oh, I did not realize that. The neck has extra holes from different styles of tuners. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Price is $60 firm. I am not desperate to sell, so please do not send any lowball offers. Which I feel like at $60, like if you're lowballing this,
I haven't checked to see if this moved.
I would consider trading for a nice hard shell case that will fit an Epiphone Les Paul. I'm also looking for a Line 6 floor pod. Please only
I
call
should
or
have traded
email.
this guy for a case.
I will not respond. Do you have a spare hard shell?
Probably.
Whatever. As I'm looking at a bunch of hard shells.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this? I didn't realize the neck pocket was doweled and re-drilled.
That's not a big deal, though.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
For some reason, I processed the neck as being original. I think it was why I thought that was...
No.
I didn't realize that.
Also, something funny to me is that it's only got the one mounting hole in the body. Look at what I'm pointing at.
Yeah,
the
that's
CNC hole.
right.
Usually they have 3, don't they?
I thought they only had one.
This is a Mexican body?
Yes.
I thought they had 3.
I don't know.
And that stuck out to me.
I bet
think that's
it
a
probably
little odd.
varies from time point to time point.
Yeah, totally.
I
mean, my first impressions of this is $60, and there's a couple of guitar parts.
Yeah.
That I honestly was really debating going to get this.
I mean,
and the only reason I didn't was just because I am trying to slim down and have less stuff, and I don't need a new project.
I think if the neck is straight, like
I could have flipped it though.
Everything here is probably fun project stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you have a Strat pick guard and some pickups laying around, you just slap it all together, and you could probably sell this for like $100.
I could have made a functional. I could have made
tuners.
I could have made a functional guitar.
You would need tuners.
Well, guess what? I've got these tuners here that are going to replace another set of tuners. I have other tuners around.
You could bounce those tuners onto here.
I've got all sorts of tuners all around.
Boom.
Maybe I should check to see if this is still up tomorrow and try to grab it. I doubt it is. I bet it was gone so quick.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's still up. That would be.
I mean, it's got a nut in it.
Fantastic hold to me if it was. Blow my mind. So you think $60?
I mean, here's the only thing that's like funky about this is you look at the back of the headstock. This thing looks like it's had like 4 different sets of tuners in it.
Yeah, it is a trip.
It is holier than Swiss cheese. It's holier than the Pope. That's how many holes are in it.
I was gonna say it's holier than thou.
It's definitely holier than thou. How many holes do you think you have in your body, Steve? Count them up for me.
This might be a Squire neck.
It might be.
Because it does have like an extra string tree that was filled in. Is that a string tree?
I don't see that. Are you thinking about that little thing right there? I don't think that's a string tree.
I think that's just a fleck.
But it doesn't have the rubber insert around the truss.
Yeah, Squires are usually empty.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, it might be a Squire. I bet it's fine. It doesn't look like a bad neck. Even this photo of the fretwork looks pretty okay.
Yeah,
but yeah,
everything looks okay on this.
The amount of tuners that have been mounted in this guitar is perplexing to me.
It's pretty comical.
Because comical is a good way to describe it. The way tuner changes go for me, and I think for most people, is you get a guitar that's new and has bad tuners in it. Like, I got to fix this. Something's got to be done. So you replace the tuners once with a set of tuners that you bought, and if you buy tuners these days, any tuner, if you're buying them aftermarket, there's a really good chance they're gonna be just fine.
Right.
They're gonna be completely functional and get you there. I can maybe imagine someone changing them once after that to be like, well, I want to try locking tuners. But the amount of redoweling and drilling that's happened on this
is pretty significant.
It's extreme. I feel like we need to bring a Sherlock Holmes type character in here to figure out how many tuners this thing's actually had on it, because it looks like a lot. Maybe it has just been 2 or 3 and they just went crazy with the drilling and the doweling, but come on. That's intense.
I would say...
It does kind of look like there's 3.
Know. I would say at least 3.
But it could
maybe
be
4.
But the way stuff is like doweled and drilled out, it makes me think that those screw holes were abused. So maybe like 4 or 5 or 6
Yeah,
times
I don't
the
know.
tuners have been changed. It's pretty rough. Like, it feels like it needs to get doweled again before you put more new
Oh my
tuners
gosh.
on it. Just to make sure there's enough wood there to hold the tuners in place, you know?
Yeah.
We're doing a quick episode. Are we ready to move on?
I don't think we are doing a quick episode. This is pretty standard timing.
All right. Maybe last time was long.
This next topic was sent by Stephen Conradi. He says, downsizing on gear due to life circumstances, i.e. not playing at church or in bands and basically playing for yourself.
Well, I think this is an interesting mental exercise for us to go through because we're both playing live pretty regularly. We both have this podcast stuff going on that gets us a lot of gear we normally wouldn't keep around. I mean, before we started doing the podcast, my rig was the exact amount of pedals that I would use on my board, and everything extra I would sell immediately.
Right.
And I had the exact amount of guitars that I was using with a few like oddballs that were, I keep them around for memory's sake. Now I've got all this ridiculousness back here.
Yeah.
I sold a dozen something pedals a couple weeks back, and it barely made a dent.
Sure.
You've got all sorts of stuff laying around.
I've always kind of been a little more of a hoarder when it comes to pedals, I think.
Yeah, but you also have been hoarding guitars that you have flip plans for and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got guitars like falling out of your closets.
I think I could reduce down to like 3 electric guitars if I really wanted to.
So I think that's what I want to set up as the premise of you and I both stopped doing this show.
Okay.
Stopped doing any sort of like guitar media at all. We stopped going to NAMM. The whole thing. We walked away. We walk away, Steve.
Walk away.
We turn our back on the biz and walk away. Fresh start. We don't play any more live shows. Not even church.
Okay.
There's no possibility of us
need?
of even like playing at camping trips or beach bonfires or something like that for like church outings.
Bedroom only.
This is like you are keeping a rig that is just like to maintain the fact that you play guitar for yourself at home. What does that look like?
Some kind of...
And assuming that there's no like dedicated space in your house for like this is the guitar area. Like every time you play, you're pulling it out and setting up.
So probably just sell off all the amps.
All the amps?
Well, I'm kind of like in the process of that right now where really I think when I'm done, possibly the only amp I will have left, the only amps I'll have left is my Crate Power Block.
Okay.
And the Wong's Mini 5.
Got to keep that one.
Those may be the only ones I keep. I get still kind of working through that.
Sure.
But even if I was just playing for myself and nothing else, I would probably just keep like the Palmer Pocket amp and just plug headphones into that thing. And that would be like my primary way of like listening to myself play electric guitar. I kind of did this in a small way, like when, well, not immediately after, but in the process of like your favorite band not being a thing anymore. I guess you have the acoustic 150 now.
It's
like
in the trunk of my car.
On permanent loan. But otherwise, like I sold all of my bass gear. I sold all my cabinets.
But that stuff is so bulky, like unless you know you're going to use it, it's kind of like smart to sell it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I do still have like the Polytone amp. It's in a closet because I kind of kept that as like an all-purpose amp because it kind of is.
That's a crazy all-purpose
amp. It's kind of good for everything. And then I eventually sold my jazz bass because I was like, oh, this bass is like too nice for like only getting pulled out for like church every like once a week or whatever. Like I could get by with a lot less.
Yeah.
So really like I didn't necessarily downsize, but I definitely would say I partially downsized, partially like liquidated.
Right.
And went with like cheaper gear that I thought was good enough.
So if you were to go all the way down to just a single closet rig, do you think you would, how many guitars do you think you would have? I know you want to sell all your amps and do like headphone or just like whatever stored elsewhere.
Good electric guitar wise, I would keep my Strat and my 2 Telecasters and that's it.
You wouldn't keep a bass?
I mean, I keep a bass.
All right, so you'd have 4 guitars. Would you keep an acoustic?
Okay, I'd keep an acoustic.
You're still having a pretty serious rig here. It's a lot of guitars.
I mean, what's the real?
I mean, I haven't done my.
What's the real minimum for downsizing?
I don't know. I haven't done mine yet, so it's like I can't judge too hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I could probably sell off all the pedals except what's on my board right now, but
yeah.
The problem is a lot of the stuff that I have that is kind of like in storage is in storage because it doesn't really carry value.
Sure.
Sounds
like you're running a really terrible shop, Steve.
Yeah. I think like the only guitar pedals that I don't
you keep that stuff longer than 90 days, you're losing money.
Oh my gosh. I think the only guitar pedals that I don't have listed right now that have value, that I think I would sell easily is my DD5.
Right.
Everything else, like I'd probably have to sell pretty cheap at the point where I'm like, is this even really worth selling?
Yeah. I think if I was to downsize to like this pull-out closet, like never going to play live again rig, I'd probably have a similar amount of guitars as what you're saying. I'd have my Hallmark for surfy stuff. I'd keep the Titan because that gives me a lot of versatility with like a hardtail guitar.
Right.
I'd probably keep like one legacy guitar that reminds me of older bands, like the Duosonic or something like that.
Do you keep an acoustic?
I'd probably get rid of my acoustic and get a classical. So that's 4 guitars. And then as far as pedal goes,
you get rid of,
I have an acoustic that I don't really like.
But
I can't really sell it because I can't sell that thing because it's worthless.
I almost feel like
I'd love to have a classical around here.
So
instead.
do you not count the Baby Taylor as yours?
It's technically my wife's. Honestly, I probably would have sold that thing if she wasn't like, oh, that's mine. But she never plays it, you know. Right. And then as far as pedal board goes, pedals, I would probably.
I mean, like my wife doesn't even pretend that the big Baby Taylor is hers anymore.
There's guitars that are behind me right now, like electric guitars that my wife is never going to play. That she's like, you can't sell that like that.
Oh, guitar. Really?
So she like
which one?
She likes them for decorative purposes and things like that, and like history purposes. Like she loves the Explorer.
Oh, okay.
And that
guitar's worthless anyway.
Hey, that Bigsby is a good Bigsby. It's like worth $100.
Well, I mean, like, but I'm saying like
the rest of it is
a
worthless,
whole,
though, yeah.
like you're not. If you tried to sell that
worth
guitar,
like $250 max,
maybe.
I'd sell it without the Bigsby. As far as the pedal board goes, I would probably go back to what I was doing before we were doing all this crazy stuff. Like almost everything I'd own would be on my pedal board, and I might have a few like stragglers that I would swap in and out here and there, like 4 or 5 pedals. But I've got about a 12 pedal board, so I'd have like 17 pedals. Which still sounds like a lot.
That does sound like a lot. Doesn't sound like.
But then most
of
them would be on my pedal board.
Right.
At all times.
Right.
And then I'd have 5 pedals off to the side in a drawer somewhere, which is completely different than what I have now.
Which is 2 drawers, 2 sets of drawers.
Those cabinets are not full of pedals, but there are a lot of pedals in there. And I got pedals all up on the wall. Close. It's ridiculous. I got too many pedals here.
Ryan, I think at this point you could just go to an all Chase Bliss board and have everything come.
I need to get the brothers.
You need the brothers.
I need the brothers still to get a drive. Yeah, and then as far as amps go, I could easily just go down to having nothing but the Princeton. And if I wanted to be extravagant, I could keep the Katana.
Figured it out.
Okay. He solved the problem.
The solution to all of this pedal confusion. Line 6 Helix.
Oh my gosh.
HX.
I mean, that is
Stomp.
That is like the ultimate closet rig.
HX Stomp. It's like this big, right? It's like this
big. No, if we weren't doing all this, the show and everything like that, I would probably be buying a Helix Stomp. And it would be replacing a lot of like modulation stuff on my board, delays, everything like that.
Replace your amp. Are you running direct?
Yeah, but I'm only running direct live.
Right.
And I wouldn't be doing live in this scenario.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I might be doing headphones out of it.
There you go.
That would be an excellent closet rig.
Amps.
Goodbye amps. I mean, I'd still probably keep the Princeton, but I wouldn't need the Katana anymore. That's true. If I got the Helix. Good point. So are we done with this topic? Did we nail it?
I think we nailed it.
Let us know in the comments. Did we nail it? Just comment nailed it.
Yeah.
Or comment didn't nail it. Ooh, rough. Should we get into this last ad, Steve? Do we need to do any prep? Fill up our cups, get a beer, anything like that?
I don't know how we want. I probably should get some water or something.
Let's fill up
it. We just gonna
walk
away.
I'll edit it in a second.
All right.
We'll get some beverages and then we'll get into the Death Nut Challenge as we tackle the last ad. All right, we're back. Don't crack those yet, Steve. So we've got the Death Nut Challenge here. Carolina Reaper peanuts fused with Pepper X. Says on the side, caution, extremely hot, keep out of reach of children and elderly. Do not consume if you are sensitive to hot, spicy foods, allergic to peanuts, peppers, or capsaicin, pregnant, or have any medical condition. Wear gloves when handling. Don't touch eyes or any part of your body.
Do you have any gloves?
No. Wash completely with soap after use. Actually, I brought chopsticks so we can pick up the nuts with chopsticks.
All right.
So what we'll do is we'll start with the first nuts and work our way through. The first one is ghost peppers plus Carolina Reaper powder. The second one is scorpion, butch tea peppers, Carolina Reaper powder. Number 3 is Carolina Reaper peppers, chocolate butla, Carolina Reaper powder. There's a lot of Carolina Reaper in here. Fourth one is pot dougla, Carolina Reaper peppers. Seven
pot dougla and 7-pot brain strain.
What's the last one?
The last one is the Death Nut, and it has Pepper X peppers, Carolina Reaper peppers, Moruga scorpion, and Carolina Reaper powder. This is not going to go well for me.
So here's the way I want to do it. We'll start with the first nuts, obviously. And then we'll start doing the ad. Mm-hmm. And when the first person is ready to move on, that person goes and the other person has to eat the next nut too.
Okay.
We can drink water because we're recording professionals and we need to drink water.
Uh-huh.
But if you crack a beer, that's like tapping out. We've got an 805 here, and we've got a Belching Beaver peanut butter stout.
I watched the Hot Ones episode with Jack Black with Tenacious D, and I feel like that episode they had milk tea with boba. One of them did.
That does sound like a good
that's like
option.
The best.
So there's 3 nuts in each package, which means I get to eat one alone by myself later.
All right.
All right. Oh, no, it's stuck together.
Well, sounds like you're screwed. Get a knife.
I'll just eat the whole thing. Who cares? This is the first one. How bad could it be, right?
Mine's only half.
Cheers. All right. So this ad...
This is a 666 semi-hollow handcrafted guitar.
Listened to us by Greg Sims. This is what people hate on the show, chewing.
I did it right in the microphone too. 666 scale Ying Yang guitar. Semi-hollow, hand-built / handcrafted. 57 classic pickups for awesome all-around sound. Coil split, series / parallel. Bridge and neck. Purple heart top and Carina body. Solid sustain. Neck through construction. X-Trem vibrato bar. Is that the one that GFS sells?
Yeah, that's the GFS Bigsby variant.
Schaller bridge. Click on some SoundCloud link to hear it.
Did you do that? You didn't.
No.
I clicked it, and it's exactly what you would expect this music to sound like.
What is it? What's the music? Describe
like
it to
someone
me.
trying to make like prog modern instrumental rock, but it just ending up sounding like dad music.
Oh, okay. So like Kurt Young? Or better than Kurt Young?
Less awkward and weird than Kurt Young. And the production quality is there. It sounds like they really know what they're doing with recording, but it's like no one's going to listen to the song ever
You
for
ready to
for
do
any
that next
reason.
one?
I am. You know, that first nut is hot.
Yeah.
Like it's the sort of thing like if my wife got like a bite of chili that was that hot because there was a random pepper in it, she'd be like, "Oh, that's really hot," and I'd be like, "Yeah, that's what I like." That's my heat level right there.
I took the bigger one this time.
All right.
Probably a mistake.
I'll eat both of the other ones.
No, I don't. I mean, whatever you want to do.
You want to even it out. I mean, there's probably more surface area than eating.
I'm not worried about
here we go.
being even.
I'll eat them both.
The peanut's really good.
It's a good. These are probably the most expensive peanuts anyone could ever buy. By the way, this package is like $20.
So the construction of this guitar, Purple Heart top and Karina body. There's like things about this guitar that like the back of it. I think if the front of the guitar looked like the back of the guitar, I would not really like have any feeling about it. I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. It's kind of an alembic thing.
To be honest, I get the feeling that this is a home built guitar by like a home luthier.
Mm-hmm.
And when you consider that, the details of it look good.
Right.
It looks really sharp. The construction looks sharp. The execution looks sharp. The reason why this jumped out, the heat is really starting to hit like the back of my throat and like making me like gasp for air a little bit.
Yeah, it's oh, there it is.
I did both nuts too. But the thing that stuck out to me about this guitar is that it's just like a collection. This guitar represents like a collection of like really obnoxious bumper stickers.
Yeah.
Like it's got a Ying Yang. The guy claims it's got a 666 scale to it. He's trying to sell it for...
What does that even mean?
He's trying to sell it for $777. There's Ying Yang symbols like all over it. The shape is honestly not like as bad as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like weird and hippie-ish, and there's weird shaped F-holes. Like it's got that Grateful Dead thing going on. Like you could like totally see this like being on stage with the Grateful Dead, right?
Mm-hmm. So you... Man.
You ready to move on?
It says it's a Ying Yang Steger zebra. I found these on
Is it a brand?
On Reverb.
How are you doing? How are you holding up with the peppers? Report in. Are you distracted?
I'm gonna do another one, but I'm already regretting doing number 3.
This is like we're at the level now where like I make my like fried chicken this hot at home. Like I put cayenne pepper on it to make it less spicy.
Hitting the exact same spot on my tongue with both of the first two. So I only have one extremely hot spot in my mouth.
It's not on my tongue at all. It's like back of throat for me right now. But I'm definitely like, you guys can probably hear that like I'm like pausing and taking breaks and like feeling a little jittery right now. I'm a little nervous with this third peanut because it's so much redder than the first two. I'll take the big one. You can take one.
I'm definitely like feeling very caffeinated.
I'm feeling jittery. Here we go. I can taste the difference. This is going to be spicy.
Oh, that was bad.
Right away. So yeah, just yin yangs and stupid like number things. And like, it feels like this guitar was made for like Spencer's Gifts or something like that.
Right. So I think actually, I don't know why they call it 666 scale. I
wouldn't be surprised if this guy made up his own system of measurement so that he could convince himself that the scale was 666.
So the scale is 26.2 inches.
Okay, so that's 26 and a sixth of an inch. Ooh, that's hot. It's catching up to me on my tongue. How you doing, Steve?
I'm not going to be able to hang. I think I'm going to tap on this one.
I want to keep going. I'm going to keep going as far as I can. It is that radiant, glowing, red-hot heat coming off my tongue, shooting up through the center of my skull right now. That's hot stuff.
I moved to a different part of my mouth. I should have stayed in the same spot.
Should have stayed in the same spot. I've got a little bit of peanut stuck in my tooth right now, and I feel like that's a problem.
Ooh.
It's like keeping it going. Let's move that out of the way. I'm sweating for sure. Are you sweating?
I'm out.
I'm getting misty.
I'm popping this.
He's going for the peanut butter stout. I'm going to move on. I'm going to get into the number 4. You going to be okay?
I better be. I gotta do a thing.
You going to play softball, right?
It's the playoffs.
I got the big nut here.
Good luck. Oh my gosh.
Continue talking about the guitars, Steve. What do you think about the GFS trim on there?
I've never used them.
Yeah, those are kind of dumb to me.
Beer made it worse. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy that it can turn into different kinds of heat in your mouth now that I'm eating the fourth one. There's like just a different kind of heat splashing around.
So the thing is what I'm wondering is this being sold by, because the Reverb store
Yes.
is also in Swansboro, North Carolina. So it's in like the same town.
I feel like the jump from 3 to 4 wasn't as bad as the jump from 2 to 3. It was kind of a lateral move.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I feel like I've caught up, it comes back. You know what I mean? Like
I know exactly what you mean. I'm hitting my water a lot. I know you can see that.
So the thing that like is bothering me the most about all of this is that this company is called Ying Yang guitar, but it all revolves around the yin yang symbol. Like that's a different thing.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not yin, it's yin.
So what's a Ying Yang?
It's nothing.
There's nothing. I didn't know that, Steve. You learn something new about yin yangs every day, is what they say. Wow, the heat is catching up to me.
Well, it's
wow.
Funny. Well, it's funny. So I tried to search this earlier, Ying-Yang guitar, and I couldn't find it. And I think the reason that I couldn't find it is because it's not under that listing.
What is it listed under?
Well, the store is called Ying Yang, not but it's spelled. So this is extra dumb.
I'm out of water.
The shop is yin-yang-guitar. Like you see it on the ad.
Yeah.
And but the brand is called Ying Yang, and it's like the guy didn't care that he was like suddenly spelling it wrong. It's like if you went into business. It's like if your brother has his own painting company, right?
Oh man, I don't want to tap out.
So if your brother has his own painting company,
I'm really close though.
And
my ears are like filling with fluid.
It's like if he called his painting company Burke Painting, but he dropped the E.
He just misspelled his own name.
Yeah, like it just doesn't make any sense. I feel like my tongue is swelling.
It's the back of my tongue, and I'm like salivating, and my ears are full of like they're like closing off. I feel like I got it for my own.
I'm gonna let you do this. I'm gonna grab you some more water.
Go get sure. Go get some potato chips or some crackers or something. There's some potato chips in the back of the lower pantry. Oh God. Oh man. That's a different kind of heat. I'm about to go for the fifth one. I'm going to wait till Steve gets back. Oh, God. It has really caught up on me. I started to get like the cold sweats, and I'm definitely super jittery right now. Hurry up, Steve. Now he's just taking a long time to dick with me. He probably thinks I'm going to eat this and drink the beer really quick. You found him.
Is it just quiet?
I stopped talking. You're spilling water like crazy. I figure maybe the oil of the potato chips will help defeat things. All right, here goes the last nut, number 5.
Oh, you didn't eat it.
No, I was waiting for you.
Oh, okay. No, the chips fell down.
We got to throw these chopsticks away.
I'm gonna throw my life away.
Or throw those in the trash can. Definitely a different flavor for each peanut.
Dude, I'm so far off, Mike. I only had 3, and my right ear just closed.
I just felt like a weird wave of almost a relief rushing over me. And maybe my body's...
Because you know you're done.
Going into
shock
of some sort. But my mouth is still super hot.
Are you have any last thoughts on this guitar?
I think it's dumb, but I also think it's pretty in a way. Looking at the back of it, I kind of wish it was flipped around like a Mosrite, how a Mosrite has a longer horn on the bottom. Thank you for the water.
I can see that.
I also hate the whole, like, it was getting done a lot in the early 2000s, the whole, like, sandwiching pieces of wood together to get the skunk stripe all the way down the middle of the guitar. And
oh, right.
Like, Purple Heart.
I like that.
I don't like it.
I like that look on the neck. I like it when it's like this, where you can only see it from the back.
My nose is dripping. I think it's too purpley on the front. I don't like the pickup situation either. I can't eat this on mic. What am I doing?
The humbucker?
No, the wood part, which is like the pick guard.
Yeah, I don't like that.
With the Ying Yang symbol in the middle there.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like that there's this odd thematic like yin yang thing going on with this whole brand all over. You go on the Reverb store.
It's too much.
It's the same sort of thing.
It's too much theming. On a guitar that otherwise has a somewhat strong look, I suppose, if you like that look.
I don't like the F holes.
Me neither. I mean, I would never buy this for myself.
So there is on this shop like a lacewood body Les Paul that looks like way better. Like, look at this thing.
Yeah, that looks sick. I'm dripping sweat here. I might start hallucinating soon.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's about all I got. I don't think this guy's... I'm looking at the other stuff on this Reverb store. I don't think every design is a miss, but I think this one is definitely a miss.
I think it's a miss. If the price really is $777, I feel like the build quality looks like it's there. If you like the theming, if you like the look, it's probably not the hugest mistake in the world.
So that,
but I would never pay that.
That Les Paul I showed you is $555
what? That
on
was
Reverb.
Way better for the money.
So,
oh man, let's get out of here.
All right, this song was sent by Ian Ferguson. Ah!
Are you still hurting?
No, I just can't.
Oh, you can't talk.
This song was sent by Ian Ferguson. He says, "Here's one for your consideration. It's called Han Shot First. Sincerely, Ian Ferguson." On behalf of Ryan, I'm Steve. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God.